New York Times versus Sullivan. I very much appreciate this piece, especially in our current climate where journalism is being attacked, and there is not quite as much of the interest or respect or funding for good quality journalism, which creates accountability and a democratic share of knowledge. So pieces like this, I think, really help me understand where we've come from and also provide solutions in the future and the terms and the laws governing this. And the more knowledge we have in this, the less it can be taken advantage of. So I think pieces like this are really important. That it went into great detail without getting too in the weeds. And it was nice to have the background knowledge, the visuals to accompany it, as I am very much a visual learner. So having the text, having these accompanying images to help guide me through this made it more informative and made it stick in my brain quite a bit more. And yeah, I just thought that it flowed really well and was good in terms of the pacing. It didn't get too draggy, which can happen when we're talking about laws and conditions and historical processes. We don't want to alienate our audience, and I felt like there was a clear awareness and understanding of the audience and their journey throughout the piece. So, congrats.
New York Times Co. versus Sullivan. A piece like this is so important during these times, and not just in the United States, where we're really seeing a lot of vitriolic attacks against the free press, but around the world as well. So many so-called fully formed, countries and nations are finding themselves increasingly in an adversarial relationship between government and press. And it's important that we look back and see and are reminded of the stones that were laid down so that the freedom of the press today can be utilized and celebrated, and that we can recognize when there are legitimate threats to it being reduced or even taken away. So it can be scary to look at this history, but just because it's scary doesn't mean we shouldn't, because that's the only way ensuring that the past does not become the future.
New York Times versus Sullivan. I feel like this is a very timely documentary regarding the press and the government and law. Really good visuals and music and footage throughout. The narration was good, just succinct, and the pacing was good, and the length of this was really good, and the script was good. Again, it's just very timely in how freedom of the press and the role in upholding democracy that it has. And I think, like I said, very timely right now with what we have going on politically, and it's a scary time, and just hopefully we don't lose our democracy and the freedom of speech, and freedom of press. Great job.
This film had really well done research and great pictures to accompany what the narrator was saying. The narrator, the sound, whoever did the sound with this did need to edit it a little bit because there's a slight echo to the narrator's voice, which was slightly irritating. But what she was saying was historical, it was factual. It's something that a lot of things don't have anymore. She only had one point that was not factual, but the rest was. She said the Alien Sedition Act had been abolished. The Alien Sedition Act of 1798. It's actually been, it can only actually be enacted by a president in times of crisis or war, and it's been 4 or 5 times. The Alien Enemies Act is a part of it. That's the only part she got wrong, but other than that, she had great research about the Sullivan case. It's very well educated. She knew this case very well. It's clear that's what she researched on quite quite a lot. She kind of glossed over a lot of what happened leading up to that throughout the American history, to the point where a lot of it jumbled together. But it was on point. It's just historically, she had the pictures that accompanied it. It felt like something that you could show in a school for kids to get the facts quite quickly if they don't want to read a textbook.